One of the most ridiculous lies put around by Remainers for many years was that the EU was some sort of land of milk and honey and everything was going swimmingly. It most certainly is not. Huge divisions within the European Union, with the EU budget being vetoed by the governments of Hungary and of Poland. Going to bring you all the very latest on this, guys. But please start off by hitting the subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss future videos. And also let me know in the comments below if you've heard of much of this, of what's going on inside the EU in UK mainstream media, because we know that all too often when it comes to problems that the EU may be having, some of the British media are very quiet on this. So let's just look at what this full-blown crisis, how this has come about. Now, Reuters, there was a quote the other day from a senior EU diplomat saying, if there is a Hungarian veto of the budget, there will be a crisis, said senior EU diplomat in the preparations for the ambassadors' meeting. Well, that has now happened. But it wasn't just Hungary. France 24 report, Poland and Hungary vetoed the EU budget over new rules linking funding to rule of law. The two countries have followed through on their threat to block spending plans through to 2027. The EU needs a unanimous vote from all 27 members in order to pass the budget and coronavirus economic recovery fund. The 1.8 trillion, that's right, trillion euro budget for 2021 to 2027 was agreed upon in principle last week after months of tough negotiations and is meant to take effect within weeks. It has sparked stiff resistance in Warsaw and Budapest, where governments there are adamantly opposed to a tool that could cause them to lose EU money if they continue with policies that the EU dislikes. And, you know, this shows you really where the EU is headed. Gaining control and power through funding, then do what we say, otherwise we withhold the money. It's why ultimately, if you want a government free of the constraints of the European Union, you have to leave. That's what the UK, of course, has done. That's why I expect others to follow in the years to come. So EU ambassadors voted by a qualified majority of around 2/3 in favour of a rule of law mechanism despite objections. After that, the envoys could not reach the necessary unanimity to move ahead on the budget and recovery plan due to reservations expressed by two member states. Germany spokesman in Brussels, Sebastian Fischer, tweeted. In Warsaw, Polish Justice Minister Zbigniew Ziobro declared at a news conference on Monday that there will be no consent to this mechanism, that any such mechanism would radically limit Poland's sovereignty. That's what this is about. They're free to enact policies promised in manifestos, or must you do as the EU says? Well, Ziobro, the Polish Justice Minister, depicted the rule of law mechanism as an attempt by the German EU presidency to control Poland, an allegation that appeared to target older Poles who remember Germany's World War II occupation of Poland. That's what's been reported by France 24. A pretext, a beautiful word that goes nicely in the ear, Ziobro said, but it is really about institutional political enslavement and a radical limitation of our sovereignty. These are the debates going on within the EU right now, guys. This is serious stuff as governments, as countries wake up to the reality of EU constraints. The European Union has massive divisions and problems. Make no mistake about that. And Poland's Justice Minister had said before, that, as reported by Reuters, that Poland should veto the EU budget over an attempt to tie rule of law to EU funding. He told a news conference that now is the decisive moment for what will happen in Europe, when Poland can declare a veto as a useful tool designed to block this political project designed to limit Poland's sovereignty. I am convinced that, he said, similar to Hungarian Prime Minister Orban, that Poland will use this right. As the Budapest Business Journal report, Viktor Orban, Hungarian Prime Minister, wrote in letters that Hungary would veto all elements of the legal package for the budget and the next generation EU recovery and resilience facility based on the principle that there is agreement on nothing as long as there is not agreement on everything. Using that nothing is agreed to everything is agreed, what the EU like to say sometimes against them there. With press chief Bertalan Havasi noting that the PM had earlier warned that linking payouts from the 7-year budget and recovery fund to conditions that are not precisely defined could lead to arbitrary, politically based sanctions using a double standard, putting confidence among EU member states as well as Hungary's interests at risk. Orbán argued that common values such as the rule of law are fundamental for Hungary, and their application and enforcement must be a matter for Hungarians to decide, Hungarians who are just as fit for the task as any other people of Europe. Now,
there is a saying in the Hungarian politics that it goes like that, the nation cannot be in opposition, which means that nation is something which is above the party structure. Even if you are in opposition, you have to serve the nation, because nation is something above you, you know.
To give you what the EU are saying on this, Politico with the headline, EU in crisis over Hungary and Poland's €1.8 trillion hold-up. Everybody knows that this is a deadlock, a senior official quote is saying. We are at a crossroads and nobody knows where this is leading. We only know that the whole package cannot be approved as long as we don't have the Hungarians on our side. We will continue with consultations, they say, but at a certain point in time, the Hungarians will have to show their cards on the table. Otherwise, we are in deep, let's just say doo-doo, is the quote there. And Wolfgang Muncher, a journalist, his read on this is that no, neither Hungary nor Poland, not their governments, are not bluffing. Result will be that the EU can have either the recovery fund or effective rule of law mechanism, but not both at the same time. He goes on to say, he does not see what could possibly force either the Hungarian PM or the Polish PM to fold. They know that the EU is desperate to get recovery fund going. This is one of the reasons why I supported the recovery fund as intergovernmental treaty, he says, to avoid this type of trade-off. So as I say, this is major, major stuff. This is a full-blown crisis within the European Union and really shows you what is going on. As I said, I'd be fascinated to know, have you seen much reporting of this ongoing crisis within the European Union in the British media or not? What do you make of this action from Hungary and Poland? And what do you think it tells us about the future direction of the European Union? What country do you think will be next to follow the UK out of the European Union, where ultimately, if you want to run your own country and your own affairs, that seems increasingly incompatible with EU membership? Let me know what you make of all of this in the comments, guys. And as ever, if you've enjoyed this video and report, if you found it helpful and informative, please give it a big thumbs up. Become a supporter of the channel by hitting that join button down below. Would really appreciate that. And of course, as ever, thank you so much for watching.